Chapter 4 The Horror on the Hill, Part 2. Rares had woken this morning feeling cold and perplexed. The frost that had formed over her scales crackled as she moved, as she took off over the fields through the clouds to find some warmth from an early morning sun. As she flew, she tried to piece together why she felt so out of sorts today. It felt like something was just out of her reach, but she couldn't quite work out what it was. She dipped down through the clouds and felt the temperature drop significantly. Frowning, she looked down towards the woods and saw a cloaked figure moving slowly across the clearing. She recognized the old woman. She'd seen her before, watching Rares from the trees. Rares circled, dropped further down until she could land in the clearing. She folded her wings and waited. The old woman approached until she stood unhesitatingly in front of Rares, lips pursed in thought, her gnarled hands resting on her staff. Rares waited. "You didn't belong here. You should ne'er been spawned." She paused before continuing. "It'll end badly, na do to boot it, and there's nothing you nor I can do to stop it, pet." She stepped forward and patted Rares on the nose. "Just don't let anything bad happen to the bonny lass." And then looking deep into Rares's eyes, she nodded. "Nah, pet. Don't think you will, eh?" And with that she turned and began to walk away. These were the first words anyone had ever said directly to Rares. She didn't understand the words so much as felt the meaning behind them. Shaking off the resulting melancholy, she took flight again and circled around the wood towards the offering field. She hadn't been there long before the girl arrived, and for the second time that day, Rares found herself being addressed. But this time she was a little bemused, particularly because the little human seemed to be annoyed at her. Rares was not sure why the frozen milk was her problem, but she bent her neck again and gently nudged the pail towards the girl. Over the months, Rares had come to look forward to the daily visits of the little human, and seeing her only connection to the human world looking, if anything, a bit angry at her was puzzling. Mary looked from the pail to the creature and shook her head. "I'm sure you can do it yourself." But she picked up a nearby rock and began hitting the frozen top of the milk. Rares chuckled, although to Mary it sounded like she was making a gurgling sound. Mary stopped what she was doing and looked up directly into Rares's face, which was unnervingly close to hers. Rares smiled. Mary took an involuntary step backwards, and Rares laughed again. This time, it was Mary's turn to look puzzled. "Are you laughing at us?" Rares continued to gurgle. "You are, aren't you? You're laughing at us. Wait, do it yourself." Mary dropped the rock and walked away to lean against the wall of the field, legs crossed at the ankles and arms folded, with her head cocked to one side. Rares bent her head down to the pail again, and with a wink, broke the ice with one swift movement of her teeth. Mary laughed a little to herself. Shifting her weight, she tentatively walked back over as Rares drank daintily from the pail. With one quick look at the sharp teeth, she gently, tentatively put out her hand to touch the beautiful, shimmering scales of the creature's neck. Rares paused drinking for a second, and then continued, as Mary continued to stroke the hard scales of the massive, sinuous neck. Rares gently moved her head to face Mary and blinked twice. Mary relaxed her shoulders and moved her hand to the wide area between Rares's eyes and slowly rubbed up and down on the smaller scales. Rares began to purr, or rumble, and her eyes slowly closed as she lost herself in the first gentle human interaction she had ever had. Mary smiled and began to quietly sing a little lullaby, as she often sang to her younger sisters at bedtime. Ryrest stopped purring and opened her eyes. Mary wanted so much to disappear into those deep, dark pools, to fly over the earth and the oceans that she had never seen. With a sigh that made her heart ache, she broke the bond, stepping back, and allowed the creature to fly away without her.